On July 19, 1848, in a world where women's voices were silenced, how did a small group of women in New York spark a movement that would change history? The answer begins in a quiet town, with a declaration that would echo for centuries. In the 1840s, women's lives were defined by duty. They cooked, cleaned, and raised children, but never spoke in public. Their voices were silent, their rights non-existent. A world where women could not own property, vote, or even sign contracts. This was the reality for most American women. But change was stirring. Small groups of women met in secret, debating equality. They read Enlightenment texts, studied abolitionist causes, and saw parallels. If slavery was wrong, why was womanhood not equal? These women would not stay silent for long. Many women were already fighting slavery. They marched, wrote, and spoke at conventions, but they were often excluded. Men controlled the platforms. Women like Lucretiamott and Elizabeth saw this injustice. A double standard. They fought for others, but not themselves. Religious revivalism shaped the era. Women filled pews, but not pulpits. They found strength in Scripture, quoting Paul and Mary. This faith became fuel for reform, not just against slavery, but for women's rights. A spiritual awakening alongside a social one. Newspapers became battlegrounds. Women wrote articles, but editors often cut their names. Still, ideas spread about education, marriage, and independence. The press became a tool for change, even as it excluded women from its pages. A paradox. Voices heard, but not credited. Literacy was a radical act for women. They read Rousseau, Wollstonecraft, and Mary Lyon. Schools for women opened, but only for the wealthy. Knowledge became a weapon, against ignorance, against inequality. This was the foundation for the movement to come. In July 1848, 300 women and men met in Seneca Falls. The air was thick with tension and hope. This was the first convention to focus solely on women's rights. A bold experiment. Would the world listen? Elizabeth Cady Stanton stood at the podium. Her voice rang out. "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal." The Declaration of Sentiments echoed the Declaration of Independence, a radical demand for equality in every sphere of life. Lucretiamott argued from the Bible. She said God had made women equal to men. Her words challenged the church and the state. This was not just about politics. It was a moral crusade, a call to arms for justice. The Declaration of Sentiments was signed by 100 women and 32 men. It demanded voting rights, education, employment, and marriage reform. A document that would be debated, ridiculed, and eventually embraced. A blueprint for the future. Not all agreed on tactics. Some wanted immediate action, others preferred gradual change. The question of women's suffrage divided the group. But unity was found in the core message: equality was not a privilege, it was a right. As the convention ended, the participants knew this was only the beginning. The road ahead would be long, but the fire had been lit. A movement was born, not just for women, but for justice itself. The Seneca Falls Convention inspired generations. By the 1860s, suffrage societies spread across the nation. Women marched, wrote, and lobbied, even as they faced ridicule and violence. The movement grew, but the fight was far from over. Decades later, the fight culminated in 1920. The 19th Amendment granted women the right to vote, but the work continued for Black women, Native women, and others still excluded. The legacy of Seneca Falls was not just a single victory, it was a foundation. Today, the fight for equality continues. From #MeToo to reproductive rights, the issues are new, but the spirit is the same. Seneca Falls reminds us that change is possible, but it requires courage. A voice that could not be silenced. More women now hold office than ever before, but parity remains elusive.
The movement's next chapter is about inclusion, ensuring all women, regardless of race or class, are heard. A legacy that is still being written.
The Seneca Falls Convention became a global inspiration. Women in India, Africa, and Latin America drew from its lessons. The fight for equality is universal, a shared human struggle, a movement that transcends borders. Today, a monument in Seneca Falls honors the convention. Visitors walk the same paths, reading the Declaration of Sentiments. The past is not forgotten. It is a guidepost for the future, a voice that still echoes. Explore more stories of courage and change. Subscribe for more history that matters.